morning. Welcome to Live with OCC. Today our guest is Curtis Corbins, and today we're going to talk a little bit about transportation. So I'm going to let my introduce herself, and then our special guest will introduce himself, and then we'll begin.
Hello, I'm Allison William with J. William Village Director. As you know, we're coming to you with some valuable information. Listen up.
And I'm Curtis Corbins, founder and CEO of CLeeTransportation. We're here to meet all of your mobility needs.
And also, you have a nonprofit part too.
Yes, Sdallaslink is our nonprofit arm. CLeeTransportation is our for-profit. So yes, we kind of work from both angles. And the nonprofit kind of helps us to help those that may not be able to afford the transportation services. But we're here to meet the needs of transportation and mobility wherever it is.
Now, Curtis, I know you've been doing this quite a while, but I get calls. So is transportation a big issue in Dallas?
Very much a big issue, and even in the suburbs. People think because people live in the suburbs that they don't have transportation issues, but we get a lot of calls from the suburbs. And of course, we get a lot of people that say, I was referred by OCC. Everyone said OCC. But then it clicked, so now I know. So just the fact that you're getting the phone calls to tell you, yes, it's a big need, especially in the southern sector of Dallas. And it goes anywhere from teen moms needing to get to their doctor's appointments, their prenatal appointments, to seniors needing to get to the doctor and to the grocery store. I even get several calls that were referred by OCC. Moms just need to get their kids to school. Things that we may tend to take for granted for as transportation goes. So yeah, there are, just like there are food deserts, I like to say there's a lot of transportation deserts.
Okay. So I know the summer's coming up, and last year you did summer camps.
Yes.
So since we're in April, May is right around the corner, are you going to have any programs for single moms or families needing to get their kid to their camps?
Yes, in fact, when we first started doing summer camps 3 or 4 years ago, Yahoo was one of our first. Every year we've increased the number of summer camps we do, so now we're up to 5 summer camps, and they're already signing up for their field trips. But yes, also we will be providing transportation for those single moms who need to get their kids to the various summer camps. But I would say please start calling us now because it's filling up pretty fast. So yes, we will have transportation available for those moms that need to get their kids to the various summer camps.
Okay, and also how about our senior citizens? That's one of the biggest issues I get. Well, for some reason, I'm 211.
Yes.
So when you call 211 and you ask for different stuff, OCC pops up. So I get some of the calls. I get a call every day, and it's about going to the doctor. I just had somebody call from DeSoto the other day that she needed transportation for a group of young adults. So I know Curtis' number by heart now. I used to kind of I'd be like, call Curtis Corbin. So yeah, so our senior citizens don't have transportation to go to the doctors.
And you know, one of the things people don't realize, I mean, you know, we have a contract with DART to provide medical transportation, but there are areas that DART doesn't go. There are suburbs that they do not travel, and so we get, especially dialysis patients. We've gotten a lot of dialysis patients that live in DeSoto, Cedar Hill, Lancaster, needing to get to dialysis. I'm not sure what has happened, but even those that have Medicaid and Medicare, some of the providers that they were utilizing no longer provide transportation, so we've been getting quite a few seniors needing to get to dialysis as well.
Okay, that's why, because I get a lot of calls from the insurance
Yes,
carrier. Okay,
yes,
and the
yes.
insurance carrier, and I'm like, man, we do transportation, but we do it for blah, 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 but let you, give you the number to our person that we
Yes.
use. Okay, so that explains a lot. And what areas do you?
Whereas we don't cover, to be honest with you. I mean, you know, we've been, you know, with the DART contract and with what we were already doing, it's allowing us to expand out, and then we're about to launch our own Uber app, which is going to cover more territories. And then I recently was able to attend a conference. It's called the Texas Transit Association, and there I was able to meet a lot of key people that are gonna assist us to be able to expand where we can go. So pretty much, I mean, we cover pretty much the DFW now, it looks like.
Okay.
Oh, that is so great. I was just in my head thinking, as always, when you said Curtis' last name. I can recall when we met years ago and you were just starting out. So I am so honored and excited how you have expanded.
Yes.
And Ms. Berry goes back to you when you started this podcast saying that you needed to bring different people together to know what people out here doing that are not just well known, but are known. And so the resources that you combine together, and it's kind of funny. You and Mr. Curtis started out, you know, together when you met him, and he was getting started, and the key factor again was Miss P. Yes. And so I just am so glad because a lot of people miss their elderly people miss their doctor's appointments because they don't have transportation. So when you say that they can call you, is it that they give you their Medicare or Medicaid number, or they have to go through their insurance company to book a ride with you? How do they, if an individual want to call and book a ride?
Well, as far as the Medicare, Medicaid, we finally are set up now to where there's a number that they would need to call with their Medicaid number, and that company, they're called Motive Care. And what they'll do is they'll call Motive Care and set up the ride, and Motive Care will send us the information and put it on the portal. Because in the past we weren't able to take Medicaid, Medicare, but now we're able to. So they'll call us and we'll give them information on how to get the ride set up. Now sometimes we can set the rides up directly with their Medicaid, Medicare information, but sometimes they'll have to call Motive Care, just depending on the type of ride it is.
You know, like with my insurance, I have Medicare, and it has on there, as you say, Motor Care to call for. So will they actually say, well, you can book with, what's your company's name?
CLeeTransportation.
CLeeTransportation, or they just pinpoint us to you, or we ask for you?
Well, when you call Motor Care, you just ask for CLeeTransportation.
Okay.
Yeah, so Motor Care is the managing company that manages the medical transportation for the state of Texas with Medicaid. And then and then you just say, I want to utilize CLeeTransportation. But I want to also piggyback on something you said about when Jeanette and I first met. In fact, I was just talking to Lakeisha the other day about how we used to all sit there in Miss P's office every day, just looking like three folk just trying to figure it out. We're trying to figure out how we were going to eat, how we, just didn't know which way we was going to go, but we always was there for each other. Miss P would be sitting back there in the background with her blind self, but hearing everything. But we always just talked about where we knew we were headed.
Exactly.
And to look at where we're all headed, all now, I always reflect back there to those days. We sat in Miss P's office in the mall and just trying to figure it out. And Miss P, who I think we all consider a legend, she was always connecting the dots. And that's one of the things I appreciate about her. And I look at where Jeanette is today, and it's just awesome what she's doing, and how she had her little diaper stuff going, and now she's got these food pantries and all these apartments. That's nobody but God.
Exactly.
And so I always think about those days of, you getting up and you go, why am I going to this office instead of here today? But there was always something there. It was like it was preparing us. There was always somebody, and there's people having us going to meetings that we didn't understand why we were doing this. But you just go.
Yeah.
And that has allowed us to meet people that I believe has played an integral role in why I'm where I'm at today and why she's where she is today. So it's just phenomenal.
And I would always hear Miss Smith say, Allison, I have to go here and there. And I said, are you going over there? Miss B said,
yeah.
and like you say, when you look back, you realize she was getting you in rooms that you probably wasn't going to be able to get into. Because the truth be told, at the time, you're no name.
Yes.
You're started. You knew that you had this vision, and you knew that it was a need.
Mm-hmm.
And safe to say, God gave you hey, you can meet this need, but you didn't know how.
Right.
And then he set you in position with people. When you look back when you guys first started, and you see where you are today, you realize that you are better together, collectively, and how each one of y'all can reach back to each other and say, hey, I need this, or can you do, and each one of y'all being together and do it.
Yes.
And I always tell this baby, you ring, I spring, I show up. And you have to have that willingness and have I always say be intentional.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to have that partnership. And that's one thing Miss Berry always say, pictures and get relationships. See, it's one thing to say I know you, but if I don't have a relationship with you, you're not as quick to help.
That's right.
And so today, as Ms. Berry have you on, we're realizing that transportation is very important. And you look around, you say, well, they can catch the bus, they can this and they can that. But sometimes all those things are not affordable or it's not accessible
right.
to what I need.
Right.
So with your service being provided, and I'm so glad that you are with Medicare and Medicaid, because a lot of times people don't realize they can use that part of their insurance
Right.
instead of canceling, because I found myself telling my uncle, he needed a ride, and I was like, hey, I'm stretched out, I gotta take my own payments. Why don't you call your insurance card and they can get you a ride to the doctor? And he was like, niece, I didn't know that, and he's 77.
Okay.
So I think that is great, and continue doing a good job, because a lot of people can't get where they need to be.
And the other part with the transportation, and I always like to use the story of a young lady. She's a single mom with 3 kids. She was working 3 jobs, and none of the jobs paid more than $9 an hour. Well, because of what we were doing is transporting people to good paying jobs. She heard about us, she connected with us, and she wound up getting a job paying $35 an hour with her skill set. And so guess what? Now she has 1 job. She's home every day by 5 o'clock to be a mother to her kids, who normally she would have to leave at home by themselves. So once she was able to get that 1 job, making the money she's making, now she can be a mom to her kids. The oldest kid doesn't have to parent the other 2 young kids. And now she's off on the weekends. Not only that, she was recently able to purchase her first car. And now she's working on saving up so she can buy her first home. But it's all because she was connected with transportation to a good paying job. So it all works hand in hand. And now Ms. Jeanette may not remember, but Ms. Jeanette helped her with diapers.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Diapers, food and stuff. And all she just needed was someone to believe enough in her to help her. And that's the case with a lot of people. They're not asking for a handout. They're just asking for a handout. Hey, just help me to get to that next step. So, between what I do and what Jeanette does, it makes a difference in people's lives. It really, really does.
I remember when you were even taking people to Walter to the job.
Still do that now.
And see how we sometimes just think people don't want to work, but it's hard to get, like you say, the rural areas and good paying jobs. But 2 podcasts ago for Mrs. OCC Live, 2 podcasts ago, we were talking about how when you meet the needs of a person, you end up being more than just meeting that need. It expands out to more services that they need.
That's right.
But not only that, as I listen to you, you talk as if you built a relationship with her, and how you were not only getting her where she needed to be, you watched how your transportation service got her in more and better positions to be that mother. And it looks like you've kept in touch with her. And those are the success stories that we need to hear when we're doing these things, that we're making a difference in others' lives.
Yes, and people need to see that.
And they look back and say, if it wasn't for Curtis, Miss Berry, Miss Allison, I probably wouldn't have made it. Because sometimes when people call me, I say, you know what, let me call Miss Jeanette. Miss Jeanette, blah, blah, blah. And she'll either say, Allison, we can do this, that, or tell them to call, blah, blah, blah. Because, again, it takes a collective group to get the job done. No one organization can do it alone.
Well, collaboration, and the thing is, when I look at some of the single moms that I've taken to work, and then when they've been given food or diapers by Jeanette, they talk about it. They say, Mr. Curtis, you don't know what a difference that made, because I didn't know how I was going to feed my kids. We look at that box of food in there, and we say, oh, but to them, that's big time.
Exactly.
To be able, because they can take that and make enough food to feed their kids for a week or 2. So that to me, that collaboration between myself and Jeanette, where my lane is transportation and getting them a job. But then if I know they need groceries or need food, just call Jeanette, and she said, bring them on. She turned what's that, 2 loaves of fish or 2 loaves of bread and
2 loaves of bread and 5 vegetables.
And
Fed the multitude.
feed the multitude. And there's never been a time where I called her and she said no. She said, come on, That's always her first response. And the same thing when she calls me. Because we come from humble beginnings.
Exactly.
And I believe God has positioned us to pay it forward.
Exactly. Because he said, I know the thoughts and plans that I have for you before you was even formed in your
We
mother's
don't
womb.
know. Yes. And talking about jobs. You doing jobs too.
Yeah, oh yeah, and getting people. Well, that's our main focus is getting people connected with good paying jobs, not just
But a
jobs.
lot of people don't know that you
Right.
have access to
Yes,
jobs.
and so one of the things we do is, you know, if you're looking for a better paying job, you know, we've got some connection with warehouses. And like we had a situation, I was at a job fair one day, and the company called Uline, they're out of Grapevine, and the lady was sitting there, and people were coming up to her booth, and they paid $25 an hour, which is good. And a lot of people was coming to her booth, and she, you know, she giving information, and then when she say, oh, and the job is in Grapevine, people would have to walk away. So I walked up to her booth, and I said, listen, I know what the problem is. I said, let's partner up. I said, because we provide transportation. I said, so what we'll do is, you just let them know that transportation is available. So now all of a sudden, if 10 people came to our table, at least 9 of them now
Get a job.
can get a job. Because now and that's what we do. We get with these employers, and then now we do this thing what we call it recruiting and writing. So we recruit employees for the employees, because a lot of employers lose people because they can't get back and forth to work. And so we recruit for them, and then we also provide that transportation piece, which is huge. So now their retention rate at the job is going up again, because now people have reliable transportation to get back and forth.
That's bringing hope to families.
Yes, big time.
And they don't have to be stuck in a dead-end job or in, like you say, working 2 or 3 jobs, which takes them from their family.
Yes.
But you're trying to, even 3 jobs, you just making ends meet.
Yeah, that's
and
all
you
if you're doing
ends
that.
meet.
You just made
Yeah, you just there working.
Yeah.
You know, but it's okay because you're working. No, it's not okay.
But it's not enough when you're doing the same thing and struggling year in and year
Right.
out, and you don't see nowhere, because at some point you want to see progress.
Right.
You know, but if you work for 3 jobs for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, something got, and that's not, you get frustrated. You know, at some point, I always say, people that's in that line to get a turkey for Thanksgiving and gifts for Christmas, hopefully in about a year or 2, they're no longer in that line.
And
But-
normally that's what happens.
Yeah.
'Cause, you know, we used to do Christmas
Right.
with some of your
Yes,
clients,
yes.
you know, and we did it a couple of years, and then now they want to donate to
Right,
other
and
people.
that's-
So that's what you try to
That's the
teach
impact you
people
wanna
is to
have.
give back, you know, because you need help right now. You're not going to need help all the time.
That's right.
And those
You know, you
3
give
or 4
back.
jobs you're taking from your family.
Right.
And it's no parent in the home to raise the kids.
Exactly.
Because what do I do? Do I stay in the home, or do I feed you to keep a home for
That's
you?
right. Yeah.
So with transportation, it allows me to do those things. I need parent, keep a roof over their head, and feed them. And like you said, the greatest thing is that they pay it forward.
Right. Right.
Because they realize without you guys assisting and help, they wouldn't be where they are. That's the greatest thing, when you watch them come back and say, I want to pay it forward and thank you.
And one other thing in relation to transportation, we work with a lot of Section 8 moms now. And if you know how that works, I mean, to me, I tell all of them, I say, yeah, this is a trap. This is to keep you in that place. So now we've got Section moms that we have a contract with Methodist. They have a medical assistance program and a phlebotomy class that these Section 8 moms can go to. But one of the problems was getting them to that. So we provide the transportation to get them to that training class every day. 3 of them have graduated from those, have gotten jobs at Baylor and at Methodist, making $25 an hour now. And now they're about to come off of Section 8. And now one of them is already talking about going to nursing school, because now they believe in,
They see.
they believe and they see, okay, I don't have to be stuck on Section 8 for the rest of my life.
That hope showed.
That hope showed up because of now the transportation piece, and now once they graduate from the class, we take them to work. So now they got transportation to get back and forth to work and everything.
The
So
most disencouraging thing is if I get a job or if I can go to school, but I never can get a ride
That's
there.
right, that's
Then I'm like, hey, I need to just throw in the towel
Yeah.
and just go work here and there.
Yeah.
Because when you find yourself dependent on others
Mhm.
that have their own lives,
Yeah.
and you can't get where you need to be.
Yeah.
So again, that is a great thing that you're doing. Again, you're bringing hope.
Yes.
And you're showing them, hey, if you better yourself, it's some programs out here
Mm-hmm.
to assist you till you get where you're going.
Yes.
But not only that, there's somebody that believes in you.
Right,
People
that
need-
means a lot.
People, we are the hope. You know, because I can see something, but if nobody beside me or saying you can do that, come on, go do it.
It makes a
Be
difference.
surprised.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think it's also exciting and more profound, especially when that stranger, that person you don't know, see you and say, hey, I can help you.
Yeah.
I believe in you. You can do this. It's like a whole light bulb go on. Not that their families or whoever had told them, but sometimes when that stranger comes, it gives them that different push. It's like, if they see it, it must be true.
Because they look at, like whenever Jeanette helps a lot of them, they say, I didn't know people do this.
Exactly.
You know, they're surprised, they're shocked. And the thing is, when Jeanette does it, they realize she does it without hesitation. She don't ask no all these 50 million questions. No, what do you need? You know, you show her this all. And I've seen her sometimes say, you sure that's all you need? You know, so she, instead of them taking one box grab, she'll give them an extra box. And they say, why did she give me that? See, it's like they're not used to seeing people do that.
And her other thing is, when they come, she'll say, hey, so what are you doing with yourself, or what do you have going on after this? And they may say this, that, and she said, well, you know what? I need you to go over here, and do this and do that, and they can help you. And you look back and they be like, oh, okay. And so I always tell her all the time, you're that modern day hope. And I laughed and I said, when E.F. Hutton speak, everybody listens. So now I go with J.B. speak, everybody listens.
Yeah.
And I see that you are taking on the Miss P spirit, and when it's authentic and it just comes to you, that's God sent. Because Miss Jeanette is, y'all probably don't know, because this is about the third, fourth podcast, kind of shy, but she will talk when needed.
Okay, now look.
Yeah, she'll talk when needed, but now podcast, she has to talk regular.
Just do it. But no. So, I mean, about DART.
Yes.
What's going on?
Oh man, that is going 10 miles an hour. We embrace it. We just found out a month ago that our contract will be extended in September. So this time it'll be an 8-year contract.
Oh, wow.
And we're going to get 30 more buses. And, so yeah, it's just blowing up. And I was telling CW earlier, I was invited to a transit conference a couple of weeks ago in San Antonio. Got to meet transportation directors from Houston, Waco, San Antonio, and Corpus Christi. I was the only blackface there, only minority-owned transportation company, and a lot of these cities get federal dollars, and a lot of times they got to return it because they can't meet that 20 to 30% threshold of doing business with minority-owned companies. So now we're going to have the opportunity to go and set up services in Waco, and San Antonio, and Houston. The same thing we're doing here, because there's not a whole lot of minority-owned transportation services. So God is just continuing to open up the floodgates.
And it's funny because we're going to San Antonio and Houston. OCC living.
All from sitting in the street.
I mean, I haven't said nothing, but yes, we are.
But the Bible says God will make, your gifts will make room.
Yes.
And you'll just, all we have to do is just continue to just be accessible. And God will take us places that we could never imagine and allow us to meet people that we could never imagine. We just stay humble and always know that our motive, and if God knows our motives are right, I think you and I, we're pretty much, God is just, we're on that same trajectory, and so it's a blessing to just see how you blossom, and I mean, now you manage all these food pantries. I mean, who would have done that?
No.
Because we got to remember that you was trying to go back home to California.
I was going.
Yeah, you was heading back home. You said, I couldn't do it. You listen.
Hey, I was on the next plane.
You was out of here. But but that just goes to show you were ready to go in the top. And that's usually how it happens. I mean, I think about that a lot. To look at where you're at today, and just to think, not too long ago, you were talking about getting on a plane, going back home.
And Miss P was like, I need you to come into my office. I said, okay. And she was like, what's this? I was like, I'm going back to Cali.
Going back where I came from.
But God, but with the DART thing is, I've been fortunate enough now, my daughter handles that for us, and so she runs that like a charm. I mean, and that's the other thing too, is we have to create generational wealth. We have to teach our children how to be able to create opportunities and not just be employees, but become employers and stuff like that. So I'm so proud of my daughter handling that. My son does our ARP contracts and rides to work. So, and I've always taught my kids to learn to own your own earning potential. You control it. And I think that's how we build a community too. And I impress it upon some of our clients, some of these single moms, especially Section 8 moms that said, where do you see your daughter in 10 years? This lady has an 11-year-old daughter, and I said, do you see her being on Section 8? And she said, heck no. I said, you got to change.
Don't do nothing.
Right. I said, it becomes a cycle. And so now that she's ascending, going to class, went to class, now she's working at Baylor. Even her daughter's schooling has improved because she was watching mom studying and all that. And the 11-year-old girl said, So sometimes kids watch what you do.
Always.
Yeah. So.
And I remember we was in DART 8 years. We was in the boardroom talking,
Yeah, yes.
Yep.
So.
And now look.
You'd be amazed. And the people that, go back to what we were talking about, the people that we've met through Miss Pemberton, even C.W. Whitaker, we've met people through him, and the people that know him, when you say C.W. Whitaker's name, he's a legend too. He may not say it or want to own it, but he's a legend in this time.
Oh, wow.
All the work he has done. Yes. C.W. Whitaker's name is among some of the greats out here. And so, people, when I say, a lot of times when I ask, do you know C.W. Whitaker, it's like,
Whit?
Yeah.
Whit?
Yeah, Whit. We are grateful for the impact he has had.
Yes.
In his years on the Park and Recreation, at AT&T and all, and now on the zoo board and stuff like that, and that's just who he is.
And now look, he's my camera.
Oh, he'll do that in a minute.
That's fam.
He loves putting out that camera.
And it's amazing how all you guys are humble, and you would never know the backstory, or you'll never know the prestige that you guys hold in the community, because you guys are everyday people. You're very humble and you're approachable.
Yes,
and that's a great
important.
thing. When you're approachable, you can do a lot, and people will feel more comfortable coming to you with their needs. And I was listening to you talk about the young lady again with the 11-year-old daughter. What I will say, it's so amazing when you hear a man speaking to a woman's life.
Yes.
If they don't have that male figure, because I love when my dad either chastised me, commend me for doing things, put me up where I need to be. And so when you see men stepping up to be that voice for single mothers and parents, that is a great thing. And I want to tell you again, I'm honored to see it.
Well, and I do, listen, I have a daughter, and I've been speaking to her life from the time she's a little girl. I've always told her she's destined for greatness. And now I begin to see the fruit of that because of her mindset. And I always tell her, I said, you can be whatever you want to be. And that's what we as men, I think that's something God has given us to speak into our young girls and into women's lives and everything. Because when you talk to a lot of these young girls that's out here struggling, a lot of times they don't have a male figure.
Exactly.
And they're looking to be affirmed by a male figure, whether it's their dad or their uncle or somebody, to let them know, hey, you're okay, you're gonna be all right. I just believe that's just the way most young women are made up, that you want to hear that affirmation.
I think it resonates different when you hear it from a man.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like it's like the word, because I'm a daddy's girl, so it just means so much, and it gives them that push that, hey, I got this.
Yes.
And so continue on, not just providing transportation, but speaking life into them, giving them hope. And Ms. Berry, you continue on to be that, I know that mother figure, that mentor, that inspiration that you are to so many of us, because believe it or not, Ms. Berry and my daughter have their own relationship.
Yeah.
And my daughter just wrote a book. And it's on audio, and it's PDF. You can get it through Amazon, and now it's going into Barnes and Noble. But I think back, she's 36 now. When I met Miss Jeanette almost 15 years ago, how she was young, starting out, but Miss Berry always gave her good advice. And they talked about real estate. She's purchased homes and flipped them. But that's because Miss Berry started out with, hey, when Alicia has her baby, let me know. I want to be a blessing.
Yeah.
And that blessing has turned into, now my grandbaby's going to be 11, and my daughter gives back, and they stay in communication. She stay bouncing off ideas. And she wanted Miss Berry to look over her book to see, hey, what do you think before I send this out? So again, we form those relationships that last beyond my needs.
And I don't think Jeanette realized there's people to this day that ask about, what was that lady's name that gave me some food? You know, so because of the fact that she just gave, you know, people remember, tell Miss Berry I said hi, tell Miss Berry thank you, you know, so there's a lot of people she's impacted that she doesn't realize. And sometimes that's how it happens. There's people's lives you'll never know that you impacted them, all because you were willing to humble yourself to let God guide you to where you're at today. And to me, that's still a lot more for you to do, especially with that, because there's a lot of people that need that. So just continue. You never know the number of people that are grateful that you gave them a box of food, and you gave them diapers because
And formula,
which is so doggone expensive, you know.
Yeah, I almost had to get a baby back if you had to buy one.
Yeah.
But you know what, Miss Berry is so funny. Over 15 years ago, when God sent you a love note, you ordered some keychains, and you thought they were just going to be regular keychains. It was a keychain with a world, and it had an airplane going through it. And me and Miss Berry would always laugh about that. And now as she goes from state to state and place to place, we always say God was just preparing you, and He showed you early on where your destiny was going to lie all over.
That's right. Yeah.
All over. And even while she's here, she's always doing something in California as well.
Oh,
and they're
yeah.
always sending something back, or they're connecting up. So Miss Berry, again, when JB speaks, the nonprofit world listens.
That's awesome. But anyway, Curtis, we want to thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for inviting me.
And keep doing what you're doing.
When I heard you was doing this podcast, I was starting to say, well, maybe I'll give a call.
Well, see, I've been taking other calls from you. Because every day, I'm getting, can you tell me about your transportation? Nope. That's Curtis Corbins. Here's his phone number.
Oh, yeah.
And then if they write it wrong, ma'am, I just called you. I must have wrote the number down wrong. Can I have that number again? So, but anyway, thank you and keep doing what you're doing.
And you too.
Thank you, because I know transportation is definitely a big issue. A big issue. Can you?
Oh, my number, if you want to reach for transportation, is 469-818-7989. Once again, that's 469-818-7989.
Thank you. And two, as we wrap up, we just found out that Rhino Nation is having a Black Texas tour in Dallas, Texas, and it is April the 26th, 2024, and it's going to be 4 Oak Cliff, 5:30 to 7:30, but they also getting ready to do something for nonprofit organizations. So I was able to be on a podcast that they had a couple of weeks ago, and it's a lot of valuable information. So for your business part,
yes,
and for your nonprofit part, you need to check out Rhino Nation's information.
I'm going to do that.
And which we will show the information on the podcast. But anyway, it's a lot of information, and they do a lot for the community. So again, thank you all for tuning in. Until next time, thank you.